Hey, and welcome to your yoga practice. I'm Mark from Phoenix Yoga and I'll be taking you through your practice today. Remembering, you go to how your body feels. So if you're feeling a little more fatigued today, take it a little bit gentler. Be kind to yourself. If the breath's feeling a little bit better, you might want to take a little bit more out of the practice. But we're going to start by coming down into an all fours position. So if you're working off a harder surface, you might want to fold the mat over, give yourself a bit of padding for the knees. But we're going to have the hands a good shoulder width apart. Again, looking after the wrists, bring the hands a little bit further forward. You're going to want to have the knees a good hip width apart. Maybe have the hips a little forward of the knees just to give yourself a little bit more space, not coming into a lunge position or a plank position. You're just having them slightly forward rather than having them back. We're going to have the gaze looking down at the floor just to start with. We're going to draw the abdomen towards the spine so you get that nice little lengthening through the lower part of the back rather than starting with that little dip. Just take a moment or two here just to let the breath and the body settle, just adjusting to its new position. When it feels comfortable, as you exhale, you're going to gently take the hips towards the heels. Feel that little lengthening through the shoulders, through the lower back. As you inhale, you're going to squeeze the glutes, you're going to pull forward on the palms of the hands, lifting yourself up into that all fours position, taking the gaze gently forwards. Exhaling, you're going to take the hips back towards the heels, feeling that little lengthening through the shoulders. Inhaling, you're going to lift up into all fours, just taking the gaze gently forward. As long as it's comfortable, we're going to tuck the toes underneath, and as we exhale, we're going to push the hips back and up, coming up into your down dog. As you inhale, you're going to bring the knees softly back down onto the floor, coming back down into that all fours position, putting the tops of the feet back onto the floor. As you exhale, you're going to take the hips back towards the heels, feel that little lengthening through the shoulders. As you inhale, you're going to lift up into all fours. Lift up the toes underneath. As you exhale, you're going to push the hips back and up into your down dog. If the heels don't reach the floor, that's absolutely fine. It's not a requirement. As you inhale, you're going to bring the knees softly back down onto the floor, taking the gaze just gently forward of the fingers. Tops of the feet turn back onto the floor, hips towards the heels. As you exhale, gently sitting back. Don't need to sit back all the way if that's not quite as comfortable. Inhaling, and lift up into all fours, taking the gaze slightly forward. Going to tuck the toes underneath. As you exhale, and push the hips back and up into your down dog. Inhaling, going to bring the knees gently back down onto the floor, taking the gaze slightly forward, tops of the feet onto the floor, taking the hips back towards the heels, then the length, go back through the shoulders. Once more. Inhaling, coming up into all fours, going to tuck the toes underneath, push the hips back and up into your comfortable down dog. Inhaling, going to bring the knees softly back down onto the floor, and then exhaling, taking the hips back towards the heels, letting the shoulders gently relax. And then you're going to come up into a kneeling position, and then we're going to come down to lying onto the back with the knees softly bent. If you've got slightly deeper shoulders, like me, you don't want to rest the head and tip the head back, that's not very comfortable, pop a little blanket, or if you've got one of the thin blocks, underneath the back of the head, but not so that it draws the head forward like a tortoise, just so it levels the distance between the back of the head and the back of the shoulders. So we're going to get you to come down to lying onto the back. Just adjusting the support on the back of the head, and it's on the back of the head rather than on the neck. Going to have the feet up to hip width apart if you want a slightly softer movement, or you can have the feet closer together if you want to work a little further into the hips. You're going to have the arms down by the sides of the body with the shoulders gently relaxed. Take an exhale where you are. As you inhale, you're going to raise the arms overhead to the floor behind you so the elbows and the backs of the hands are in contact with the floor. Take an exhale here. As you inhale, you're going to squeeze the thighs, squeeze the glutes, gently floating the hips up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, you're going to lower the hips, you're going to return the arms back to the sides of the body. Inhaling, you're going to take the arms overhead to the floor behind you so the elbows and the backs of the hands are in contact with the floor. Exhaling there. Inhaling, you're going to squeeze the glutes, gently floating the hips up towards the ceiling. Exhaling, lowering the hips, and then returning the arms back to the sides of the body. I'm going to take that twice more like that. Palms press down into the floor, taking a moment. You can either take a little bit of Apanasana at this point, so bring the knees gently up over the stomach, placing the hands lightly onto the knees or behind the back of the knees if that's a little more comfortable. Knees about hip width apart, feet good, hip width apart, and relaxed. As you exhale, you're going to bend the elbows, drawing the knees softly in towards you. Inhaling, extending the arms, supporting the knees. As you exhale, it's a little draw of the abdomen in towards the lower back as the knees come in towards you. It's not a grip, it's a gentle movement. Inhaling, extending the arms, supporting the knees. It's to release the body, not to crunch the body. About twice more. And you can release the feet onto the floor. Take a moment. All onto one side of the body. Come up into a comfortable seated position. Cactus behind me. Stretch the legs out if you prefer rather than having them crossed. If it's not comfortable for the knees, don't cross the legs. If it's not comfortable for the ankles, don't cross the legs. Softly close the eyes, take a moment. Then allow the eyes just gently open, come back into the room. Your yoga practice is now complete. Namaste. Hope you've enjoyed your little practice. I look forward to seeing you back on the mat very soon. Take care.